Okay, so this is the final gallery video where we're going to be showing the Lightbox, or at least the Lightbox plugins that I currently have. So you can see if I zoom out, I still have my my Chaos Weaver Quick Gallery inserted here. So I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to grab that table if I can. See if I can get the whole table. I can check in the code to see if I've got the whole thing. And I'm just going to kind of scroll down to the bottom and delete that item. So I'll delete it at the table level. You can see I have everything selected. Hit delete. And then I still have my, when I refresh that, I should still have both of my divs. So my div class center, my gallery holder, and then I'm going to add a comment here at the bottom so that I know where my gallery ends. Gallery ends, dash, dash. And there we go. So you can add these comments to help you indicate where a box opens and closes so you don't get lost. So I'm going to copy that comment over. I'm going to place it here, and I'm going to say gallery holder ends. So that just helps me know where my things close and open so I don't get lost. So I would definitely add comments into your code so you don't have the problem I had earlier where that sort of mystery div ending appeared and we didn't know where it was and stuff was moving all over the place. That kind of stuff really helps. So I'm going to put my cursor inside my gallery holder, which is inside the gallery div, and I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to TCN Widgets, Lightbox Gallery. So the Thickbox Gallery and the Lightbox Gallery, both of those are covered in additional videos in eCompanion, but I'm going to click the Thickbox Gallery, and this is what it's going to drop in. So it's going to build its own div called Gallery 1 Class LB Gallery, and it's going to fill it with all of this different script, and then it gives me a couple thumbnails with broken links. The reason the links are broken is because it says image source, images, Lightbox demo, thumb 1. I don't have those images in my images folder, so I'm going to have to put new images there. It's also going to upload some additional code up here. Now there's a few of these that are from my previous gallery demo, but the Lightbox CSS and the Lightbox JavaScript, those both matter. Those are part of this. So those will load with everything else. So now, what I need to do is I need to come in, I need to change these images so that they match my thumbnails. Now the way I can do that is simply by clicking, and then down here there are two little links. There is image source, which says images, Lightbox demo, thumb 1, and then image link, which is Lightbox demo 1. By switching these two images, I can get my Lightbox to function with my images. And so I'm going to go to source first, browse, and I'm going to go to thumb 1. And that will, bam, drop in my thumbnail. I'm going to do the same thing here, and then I'm going to link them to their actual final. So I'll look for this one. This one should be thumb 2. And then this final one should be thumb 3. Now that was pretty easy. The other two I can just delete, so I should be able to delete the full list item. So you can see the way this code is structured, that it created something called a UL, which is an unordered list. And I've mentioned those in the past. I didn't really teach you how to code those yourself, but basically it just creates a list that allows items to kind of work and line up. This is actually a great way to create galleries of thumbnails. And I didn't cover that, but we could talk about that later if we need to. So what I'm going to do is actually just delete that list item. By grabbing that whole LI to LI, I can delete that one. And then I can do the same for the second one. So I'm just going to grab that list item and delete it. So now I have 3 list items for my 3 thumbnails. They are located right there. Now the next step is to grab them and change what they're linked to. So they're linked to a larger image. So the larger image would be my gallery 1. For this one, it would be my gallery 2. Oh, I grabbed the wrong click here. Click this one. Whoop. Gallery 2. And then the final one will be gallery 3. And now they should all be nicely linked. So let me see. I might have accidentally, it looks like I didn't grab that one correctly. So I can actually come in here, grab this, change that to gallery 2, click OK. It's hard to click them sometimes. It looks like I did the wrong thing again. So I'm going to just change the code right here. Click 3. And then I can actually just look in the code and see that it says href, so reference, images gallery 1. Image source is images thumb 1. Images gallery 3, image source thumb 2. So I can actually tell that code's wrong just by looking at it, but I can change it to 2 because I know that's the name. So they should all be correct now. So now I'm going to save it, and it's going to say copy dependent files. Because I use that little plugin, it does all this for me, which is nice. You can set up Lightbox by just copying the files yourself and doing it a separate way. One of my online tutorials shows that. But this makes it really easy because it says okay, you need all of these files to be copied over to your folder here. So I'm going to say, okay, go ahead, do that. And it's going to create a CSS folder that contains the Lightbox and the sample Lightbox tryout CSS. It's going to drop, it should drop everything into images, but it's already there. So it actually created a new folder inside images called Lightbox images. So it looks like that's actually kind of nice. You could actually just go grab the images from your desktop and it will copy them over into your folder. And it creates a folder called scripts that contains the jQuery and the other JavaScript there. So that's a lot of code that it just wrote for you to create Lightbox, but it's really quite simple. So once that's done, all you need to do is preview it. So let's preview this in Google Chrome. And then I've got my box. I can click and bam, Lightbox comes up. I get my previous and my next button, or at least I should. That was the last one, so I didn't really have a next button. But this one will have a previous and a next button. And you can add a comment here. So that's actually pretty easy to do. We'll look at that in a moment. But you can see I have like a nice hover and all of that affected here. Now the final part, and really the hardest part of the Lightbox, you can see that was actually really easy to do. The hardest part is simply styling it. So getting it to style is the difficult part. So when you click all of this stuff, you got to look at your code here. So you can say, okay, so gallery 1, class LB gallery. So you would want to go to your CSS, which I believe is lightbox.css. It might be it. And we got to go find that. So something called LB gallery. And if we don't see it here, we can check the other CSS file. So it doesn't look like it's here. This looks like the Lightbox CSS that has to do with the JavaScript elements. So let's check style.css. Okay, so that one doesn't exist. That must belong to one of my old items there. Let's see sample Lightbox. Ah, there it is. So LB gallery, background color is 444, padding is 10 pixels, width is 520, list style, display inline, border, border width, all of that. So this is your chance to change everything. So you see how my borders are thicker at the bottom, they look like Polaroids? I could change that right here by changing that to 5 pixels, not 25, 5 pixels, and then 5 pixels. That would make a border all the way around that was 5 pixels. You can see that altered a little bit there. You can also change your border color. You can change the color of the hover, the white hover that pops up, and all of that here. So this is really easy to change, and it's in its own little CSS. So that's one of the nice things about CSS. You can actually link multiple style sheets for different parts of your website if you want to segregate things. I usually write everything into one big long CSS file and then just segregate it with comments like this. You can actually see in CSS the comments are written differently than they're written in the code. So that's just a little note. But they're always in there, so you can always kind of copy and paste and add things. So this is where you would make all of your visual adjustments to this thing. So if I take out the background color, it will probably disappear. So there we go. So now I can take it out. You can see my border is now nice 5 pixels all the way around. I could change my hover color. A lot of times if you just do this and then hit the the octothorpe, it will just pop up with your color menu and you can pick whatever you want. So maybe I want a purple hover because that matches all my purple stuff going on. Hit refresh, save your CSS, and then preview it again. And there we go. So now I have this nice smaller border. It looks like I need to adjust the hover border, and it looks like that we have a little bit of an issue there. I'm going to hit refresh, and it looks like some things need to change. That's actually kind of cute, but that's not what I want. So let me exit that, and then let me check this. Oh, okay, so I didn't change my border color or my border color yet, and I didn't change my border width. So what I need to do is change that once again to 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and then here it looks like this is the color I needed to change because that's set to white as well. So I'm going to type in my octothorpe, and then now I can select the color I want to highlight here. So let's see if I can we'll grab like a nice light purple there. Click refresh, hit save, and then preview once again in Google Chrome. And ta-da! Now all my adjustments are made and it's ready to go. So then my final thing to do would be to edit the div properties so that I could get these, you know, they're kind of way over here on the left, to center them using that margin 0 auto property I showed and things like that. So that's a great way if you have maybe like 20 images you want to show and you don't want to have a huge stage taking up space. Great way to do it. And you can continue to add more list items. So if you find later you need to add a 4th image, all you need to do is go back to your source code, and what I would just do is copy this list item, hit paste. It's going to create a second one, and then you just need to change your image references here. And that's easy to do if you actually know your code here, you can just come in here, change that to 4, change that to 4, and then go through and add those into your images folder. So it's actually really, really easy. Now when I refresh, it's going to be broken because there is no thumb 4 or gallery 4, but it's really easy to just add more and more and more items here. You can also come back to your item here and change your gallery width. So your LB gallery padding 10, width 520. You can see it's 520 pixels wide. I could then change the margin to 0 auto, and that should center it. So bam, centered. So it's really, the Lightbox is actually really, really easy to work with. It's not bad. The hardest part is you're going to have to go find that plugin. I can't seem to find it at the moment. It seems to have changed. The manage extensions, the extension page on Adobe has changed a little bit. But if you search TCN Lightbox, you should be able to find a link somewhere to it. So let's preview that once again in Google Chrome. It's going to ask me to save it. I hit yes. And there we go. So this one's non-functioning because I do not have an image for, but I now have all of these and they all work perfectly. So now the last thing I want to show you before I close out this video, it's a really short one, is how to add a comment. So if you want the title to appear, all you need to do is go to your source code, and I believe in the alt here that you can add the title. And let me see, it might be under title and it might be under alt. Let's check. I'm not sure which of these two it is. So you can see in the code here it says href images gallery 1 title equals this. So let's see if that adds a title. So I'll call this one Ferris, I don't even know if I spelled that right, wheel. And then under alt, I'll say wheel. So I can see if either of those are going to work. I'll hit refresh. Nothing will change here. I'll preview in Google Chrome and hit save. And now when I click it, let's see what pops up. So Ferris wheel is the one that pops up. So I can tell that the title is what's linked to this element here. So this one just says images 2 of 4 because there's no title, whereas this one says Ferris wheel. So that's all you need to do to add your title. So really simple stuff. That is the Lightbox gallery. So that's right here, title equals Ferris wheel. The alternate is, this is probably just has to do with readability when you have someone who has special needs using the type to speak kind of command and have it read the websites to them. Forgot what you call that, but you can kind of make them the same, and then that way you'll have the same comment over both of the images. And then hit save. I'm going to delete this final list item by grabbing that and deleting it. Refresh. And now I have a nice orderly Lightbox gallery, and that's the final on how to do that. So once you're done and you just hit save, everything will save together and you have created your Lightbox.